Evening. So my name is, here we go. Yeah, good evening. It should be now recording. Yeah, we are live and we are recording. So my name is Minesh Gupta. I'm the Referee Development Training Officer at Berks and Bucks FA. I'm also a level 3 referee, and I'm honoured to have 4 guests today. And we're going to take a deeper dive into who our guests are. But before I do so, I really wanted just to say to our listeners, what is Black History Month? So, originally founded in the USA, where it is celebrated in February each year, the first recognised Black History Month event in the UK was held in October 1987 and founded by Ghanaian-born Akayaba Adiai Sibo, a Special Projects Officer at the Greater London Council, following a visit to the America in the 1970s. Each year since that first event in 1987, the month of October has been dedicated to raising awareness of and celebrating the achievements and contributions of Black people and those from historically underrepresented ethnic communities across the UK. At Berks and Bucks FA, we strongly believe in the power of football to connect people and change lives. As an organisation, we're committed to ensuring that everyone has the same opportunity to participate in and enjoy the sport we all love. And our aim is that everybody feels valued, welcomed and respected, and that no one must choose between participation and their own culture, identities, beliefs or circumstances. And we believe that representation has a vital part to play in promoting inclusion. So to coincide with Black History Month, we're delighted to announce the launch of our live recorded podcast initiative and an interview with 4 guests, which aims to celebrate and champion the successes of people from diverse ethnic communities involved in the game across Berks and Bucks FA and other EDI champions. So let me just get to my guests. So I'm reading off a script there for which I prepared earlier. So I just want to share my screen. So from the beginning, here we go. Hopefully that's now sharing. Carol, I've got you on my screen. Is that sharing?
Yes, it is.
It is lovely. In fact, I'm going to come to you first now because I can see you first on my screen. So welcome, Carol. Look, our listeners are listening to this and they are eagerly waiting to hear from you all. But I'm going to just go to you first. I'd like to ask you, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us, like which football team do you support and why?
Okay, I mean, obviously I live local to Berkshire. That said, though, a team that I've recently got very interested in is the Grenadian FA team, the female team. So my father's from Grenada, and it's really nice to be able to sort of seek out and have a look at, what of our, let's say, my sisters are doing out there. So at the moment, I've been really focusing on the Grenadian team.
Love that. Thank you so much, Carol. So I'm going to now pass the mic to Giff. Giff, if you're with us, can you unmute yourself? And the same question to you, which football team do you support and why?
So at the moment, I would say I tend to keep an eye on Wycombe Wanderers, more local sides, and Slough Town. So reason being, basically was a sports therapist student on placement. So that's where I did my placement. So I got close to the, team, the surroundings as well. They looked after me as well. So I tend to keep an eye on them.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Richard, if you can unmute yourself, please. And same question to you. Which football team do you support and why?
I'm Richard. My football team is Arsenal. Why? That was due to the Ian Wright days, is when I became an Arsenal fan. I think everyone has to love Ian Wright. Sure. And he's still very popular in the sports business with the campaigns he's doing with different brands. So it's that's been my team from when I was growing up. I haven't known anything different. Like Gifford as well, because I've now moved to the Wycombe area. My local teams as such would be almost Wycombe Wanderers and Slough Town. I've refereed many games at Slough Town, not the actual team, but the academy teams, and it's good to go for the local teams as well. So Slough Town and Beaconsfield are my two local teams with Wycombe Wanderers on my doorstep.
Thank you so much, Richard, for sharing that insight knowledge as well. And Ian Wright's a legend, of course he is. Akil, same question to you, please. Which football team do you support and why?
Yeah, I support England men's team and the women's team, obviously, because I'm from England. So follow England wherever they go, and obviously international break for the men this week. So dead excited. And in all seriousness, I'm a referee fan. I follow referees more than I follow teams.
Sure. No, thanks, Akil. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, so I guess our listeners are really keen to understand each one of you and really a little bit about who you are and what roles you have in refereeing. But more importantly, also you may not have had the pleasure of meeting each other, so it'd be great to hear from you. So I'll go in reverse order this time. I'll start with Akil first. Akil, what roles do you have in refereeing, and where did it all start for you? And currently, what level are you?
So currently, I'm Select Group 1 assistant referee. I was promoted this season, 2023 to 24, on the back of the Elite Referee Development Programme, which the PGMOL and the FA put together recently. Within football, I hold so many roles. I'm a core coach. I'm an FA tutor. Do a bit of the mentoring stuff. Just jack of all trades. Anything to sort of help push people through the system and develop people with any bits of advice that I can sort of pass with my experiences.
Lovely, Akil. Can I just probe into that a little bit further? At what age did you actually start blowing the whistle?
I started at 14. I don't know if I started refereeing at 14. I blew my first whistle at 14. I was probably no good, but yeah, 14 years of age. My mum dragged me to a referee's course. Obviously, didn't want to do it, and ended up falling in love with it. And now I'm here. It's my career. It's scary, really.
Sure. Look, we have heard that you also were very good at kicking the ball as well. So it was either kicking the ball or blowing the whistle. You've decided to blow the whistle, and you know, that was that the best decision you ever made?
I mean, no, but it was a decision that was forced upon me. I think it was a decision that was taken out of my hands from the gods that be, who decide who has the talent and skills to actually be a professional footballer. So yeah, if I had that choice and I was good enough, I'd probably be a professional player, but I don't really think I was good enough, and refereeing chose me, really.
Sure. No, thanks, Akil, and pleasure having you here. And I'm sure our guests will be very inspired hearing from a PGMOL match official. So thank you so much. So again, I'm going to go in reverse order. Richard, I'm going to come to you, really. So yeah, what roles do you have in refereeing? What's your current level? And how did it all start for you, Richard? Oh, you have to unmute yourself now. Listeners won't be able to hear you, Richard. Don't worry.
I'm currently at level 5 at the moment. Where did it start for me? It started when I moved to Wycombe and played Sunday League football. Just a bit of fun. I was new in the area. I found a team. I got to meet people. It was great. The team didn't get on well with the local referees. I didn't like the way they spoke to them. I didn't like the way the referees were. I didn't like the way the referees spoke to players. I felt I could do better. Prior to that, I should have been a referee, as we all say, a lot earlier. But where I lived in Harrow, Wembley, the nearest, I would have been on the Middlesex FA, the nearest one was Feltham. And I couldn't afford to go there at the time. And nor did I feel jumping on the 140 bus to Feltham would have been ideal. So I didn't pick up there, and I picked up when I was 30. And I haven't regretted it since. It's been a great experience. I've got to meet a range of different people, different backgrounds, different skill sets. Different international referees. Just you walk into a room, you'll be surprised who you may meet that is a referee and who isn't. My current roles in football is a level 5 referee. I am a mentor, a match day coach, and I recently became a FA tutor, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. Shaping the lives of new referees so they can follow in a similar path of my own. It's been a great experience.
Thank you, Richard, and thank you for sharing. And again, really honoured to have you with us today, and I'm sure our listeners will want to hear from you further. Okay, so Giff, yeah, over to you, please, buddy. What roles do you have in refereeing? What's your current level? And take us back in, where did it all start for you, Giff?
So for me at the moment, I'm just a level 4 referee, also part of the corps as well. And refereeing basically began in 2009. I think I was 17, 18 at the time. So I did used to play as well, youth football, school football, got injured and decided to line one of the games. The referee at the day on the day just recommended, why don't you sign up? I signed up, obviously went and told my dad, he was on top of it as well. It was like, yeah, let's go for it. I think at the time it was like £45. Signed up to the 10-week course once a week. I think it was on Mondays, and the rest was history from there. So I was still into playing between, and then, yeah, the rest is history. Today I'm still going.
Wow, and that's amazing, and brilliant testament to you that you're still going. And absolutely, what you can. Yeah, we're really happy to have you here, Giff. It's the first time that we've actually met as well, so really looking forward to hearing from you further. And finally, Carol, again, not met you. Really honoured to meet you as well for the first time. Same question to you, really, Carol. What roles do you have in refereeing and your current level, and where did it all start for you, Carol?
Okay, well, great to be able to share this with you. So I started late, so don't ask me what age it was, but I did start actually refereeing late in life, let's say. And it started by standing on the sideline on a Sunday morning, cold watching my son, my 8-year-old son, playing. And there was an opportunity to step in, and I thought, well, I have no problems with that. So I did the course, similar to what Giff did. It was about 10 weeks, did the course, and essentially haven't looked back since then. I'm a level 5. So still active. That said, though, I am a match day coach. I'm also now a coach on the female emerging talent pathway as well. So I support sort of female referees as well. Being also chair of the Berkshire County Girls Football League, I make sure that we oversee and create an environment, particularly for all our referees, to ensure that it works for them, because it's becoming more and more of a challenge now for all referees to get to actually take on the role and to remain in the role. So anything that I can do and we can do to make the world a better place for them. And really now, because I've been doing I've been a referee for my 16th year, it's about time I gave back. So that's essentially what I'm doing now.
Yeah, great stuff. Thanks for that short introduction, Carol. So I'm going to sort of mix it up now, and I'm going to go to Richard for this, I suppose, third question. So look, whilst we're celebrating Black History Month, Richard, what has been your experience as a Black referee, as you've done the course, taken the whistle, and where we are right now in the game, in terms of refereeing?
My experience has been quite positive. I'm a referee a range of different players, so it's been relatively positive. I think I'll call it out. Gifford and Carol were the first 2 Black referees I saw locally in my area. As such, I remember my first game with Gifford at Reading City, and I was like, oh, there's another Black referee. I just didn't see much of us or much Black referees as such. And I haven't seen much Asian referees as well. Now I've seen a few more. I saw one on Saturday, actually Sunday, that we were speaking. But there is just not much Black and Asian referees in the game. And I don't even remember the Premier League one back in 2009 when he retired. So I don't even remember seeing that as well. I just don't remember seeing much. It's been a positive experience. Some days, like most referees on this call, will fully agree that you get home and chuck your kit bag in the bin and goes, I'm done for the day, or done for this. I don't need to do it anymore. But then there's some days where you're like, that's an amazing game. My next game is going to be at Wembley Stadium in front of 90,000 people in the FA Cup. Like, I've come off a game thinking, if I check my phone now, I'm going to receive a phone call. So it is a mixed batch. But one thing I do enjoy is the football, and players make or break your games, whatever you say. But it's always good when you're amongst your peers.
Thank you for that, and Richard, and thank you for your honesty as well. Carol, can I go to you with the same question? Really, is that what has been your experience as a referee?
Interesting, really, as well, because I've embraced it, and I suppose I've taken all the experiences on, and it's difficult to. Well, I wouldn't be able to tell whether the let's say my experiences or responses I get is because, one, I'm black, two, I'm female, or whatever.
Sure.
So it's difficult to tell.
Yeah.
In the main, I've always been welcomed. I've never had any issues where I thought, hang on a minute, is it because I've not had to do that? Generally, they see you as a referee first. And that, once they see you and you're black, that's it. It's black suit, that is. It doesn't really matter. It does, and I've not been aware of any, let's say, untoward, responses or comments as a result of the fact that I look different.
Sure. No, thank you for that. Akil, can I come to you with this same question, please? What has been your experience as a black match official coming through 14 and where you are today?
Yeah, I think I've been an official for sort of 19 years now, I think it is, or coming up to 19th year or 20th year. So yeah, I've been around a long time. What I would say is probably similar to Richard. The thrill and the enjoyment outweighs any bad days that you get. Ultimately, being a black referee or being a referee, you're always gonna have a bad day. But the thrills and the joys, you're gonna have a lot more good days than you are bad days, and it makes it all worth doing. I feel like I have had bad experiences being a black referee, and one that I'm happy to share is that because there's so few black referees, you stand out a lot more. So when I was coming through it at level 4 level, I was the only one within the county. Obviously, Minesh, you was in the county as an Asian man.
Sure.
You'd have felt the same.
Yeah.
We stand out compared to our peers. So one of the issues I felt is I had a real bad game. I was very young. It's one of my first games at level 4. And a real bad game. But the club secretaries remembered me for the rest of that season. Every time I went back to that club, I got the same mark because of a game in August, and I was getting the same mark, which was an awful mark, all the way in May for a totally different performance. Performed well, everything was different, but he could have changed his perception of me from that one game. And if I compare that to my colleagues who are probably of a different colour, they'd be judged on that game because every referee looked the same. However, when I stepped onto the field of play, a black referee looked different to that club secretary. So I've had tough experiences like that. In terms of barriers and doors being broken down, I've felt that coming through the system, and I've come all the way from grassroots all the way to the top, I feel like things could have been made easier, but nothing outweighs some of the joys and the sort of successes that being a black referee I've had, and it's been fortunate to do. I've been to Wembley twice, I've been on European trips, I've obviously some of the grounds that I've been to. So yeah, there have been some bad experiences, and I'd be lying if I said that everything's perfect. However, that's probably society's issue, and the FA and the PGMOL and other organisations are out there to make sure that no one else faces those challenges, and we can all just have smiles on our faces and just be accepted as one, because as the FA said, football's for all.
Thanks, Akil, and that's some real authenticity about your answer there. So I really appreciate that. Some of these answers are, quite challenging for you all, and it's going to bring back some memories. So absolutely, thank you for sharing that, Akil and Richard and Carol so far. Giff, same question to you, please. What has been your experience as a black referee coming through, the moment you took that referee course and where you are today?
I mean, for me, I would say it's definitely been positive as well. I think it echoes, Richard, Carol's, and Akil's as well. To be honest, as I've gone out there to enjoy, I've gone out there to referee the game. So whether there's stuff that's happened, behind the scenes, I've kind of not paid attention to it. If it was pertaining to obviously how I look, I've just, gone there as Giff, met colleagues, got along with them, been welcomed by clubs as well. Yes, maybe earlier on, the vibe maybe would be different when you got into the boardroom, and you do kind of, it dawns onto you that you're the only kind of one that looks different here. But it does kind of wear off at times, because again, now since 2009, that's about 12, 13 years. That experience, I think, kind of like wears off as, is it a negative thing, or is it just me being paranoid? So he kind of just wears off with the positive. So the goods basically kind of take over, and you just learn to move on with it.
Yeah, no, thank you for your answer, Giff. And I think we would all acknowledge that all 5 of us are role models, and any referee of colour is a role model to anybody that's thinking about taking up the whistle. So yeah, so thank you for your honesty, all of you, with your answers. I'm going to come to you with this one, Carol, if I can start with. So the question really is, what would you recommend, would you recommend that more people from Black, Asian, mixed heritage communities get involved in refereeing, and how so?
How should they? So absolutely, I think they should, particularly if they, if they have an interest or any affinity to football or being a referee. I mean, there's so many of, let's say, let's say there are people out there doing it, and to be able to contribute and to be part of that, if they can't really play or want to play, but there's a great opportunity for them to contribute and be part of that as well. And when you say how so, do you mean how can they do it, or why should they?
A bit of both, really, Carol. Yeah.
Yeah. So why should they? Because there's an opportunity for them to be part of it. So they don't have to. It doesn't have to be as a player. There's an opportunity to support the game. I mean, being a referee, and I think all of you would agree, it really is. It challenges you, and it gives a lot back physically and mentally. It's great. It's almost like an all-round activity. Sure. So you do, you do get a lot. You do have that great sort of feel-good factor at the end of it, providing the game goes well. And certainly, if anyone is interested, I mean, reach out to Minesh, search "I want to be a referee," just in Google, and you'll find something, or reach out to any one of us.
Absolutely. So, yeah, Carol, and our listeners, will be listening to this, and they will be probably thinking about doing exactly what you've said, Carol. Akil, can I come to you with the same question? Like, what would you recommend would you recommend that more people come forward from our communities and get involved in refereeing? And what have you seen recently that really drives that narrative?
Yeah, certainly. Just similar to what Carol said, it's one of the most enjoyable things. Why wouldn't you? You stay in the game. You're able to keep mentally fit, keep physically fit, and it challenges you, just like Carol says. What I also learned, and when I was coming through, obviously I was fortunate to start at 14, whether that was a good thing or a bad thing. But by the time I was sort of 17, 18, going through my teenage years, latter teenage years, because I was refereeing, I learned so many skills that I was able to transfer to just my general life. So man management, conflict management, and how do I deal with tough situations? Obviously, we've all been in tough situations away from football where you need to have sort of composure, or maybe need a bit of assertiveness. Conflict management, dealing with different people, meeting different people. I mean, just going into London on the tube, and you've got millions of people or thousands of people, that could be daunting. But as we all know, because we've been referees, we're used to just seeing so many different people, and things like that just become the norm to you. So yeah, why wouldn't you? It teaches you so many life skills. And if you don't want to be the next Yuri Rennie and get all the way to the top, you don't have to. You could literally just go out every Saturday morning, every Sunday morning, or every Wednesday, whenever the sort of local fixtures are. You just do 5-a-side football, and that could just be your enjoyment or your thrill. You get a bit of money for it, but just similar to what Carol said, the mental side and the physical side, there's so many positives from it, and there's so many transferable skills that you can just put to your normal life and your normal day-to-day life. In terms of how should they, just again, reach out to your local county FAs or your local FAs, or reach out to any of us. If you see a referee, Gift story, I think it was Gift story, when he said that he ran the line and the referee reached out to Gift. Well, flip those roles over. If you're a young kid and you see a referee, just reach out to a local referee and say, how can I do that? And I said, you won't regret it. It'll be one of the best things ever for you. And just to put it into context, I was 14 years of age. My mum dragged me into a car, not physically, but put me into a car because I couldn't drive myself, and dropped me off a referee's course and dragged me out again, not physically, opened the door and said, go in. And I was there on a referee's course, never wanted to do it. 19 years later, it is literally my job and it's my career. And like I said, you can see on Google some of the games I've been to, some of the places I've been to. My last 4 holidays have all been from football. I wouldn't call them holidays, they've all been trips, but they've all been from football. Like, from what starts as a hobby or a bit of enjoyment, or a way to stay active could literally be your career. So don't think twice about it. Just get the qualification, and then think about the future and what's next and the next steps and how you can progress after. But take the course, definitely.
Lovely. Thanks, Akil. And it's sort of fair to say that actually when referees do become referees and you've got family, colleagues within your family, siblings might want to take the course as well because they see you where you are. And it's fair to say that you might have some siblings that are also following or want to follow your journey and get to a Premier League status like you are.
Yeah, no, my sister's my sister no, but my daughter definitely, when she's old enough, she'll definitely take it. And again, my mum's a referee.
Sure.
The context of that story, she's a referee, hence why she knew that I'd probably like refereeing. That's why she took me to the referee course. So yeah, it could literally be friends of friends. If you know any friends that are referees, they can get you in, and you'll never speak to a referee who will tell you that it's awful. There's more good days than are bad days, and it's definitely worth doing.
Thanks, Akil. Richard, we'll come to you, please. Same question. Just remind you of what the question is. Would you what would you recommend? What would you recommend that more people from Black, Asian, mixed heritage communities get involved in refereeing, and how do they actually get involved? So the question is, would you recommend? Just unmute yourself. Yeah.
I would 100% recommend it. I would, like my story, I would say be part of the solution, not the problem. As what Giff said, where the assistant, so the referee, while he was running the line, offered him and told him how to do the course. I saw what I didn't like about my referee, and instead of me going up to him complaining, instead of me saying I could do it better, I have proven to myself and others that I can simply do it equally as good or better than the individual in the middle. So there is no barriers but your own self that's stopping you. You know, hearing everyone's story, I thought to myself, if I could turn back time, I could have made the exception. I could have raised the funds. I could have done something to get doing it earlier at 14, because I could have been somewhere different. But at the same time, I started when I started. I'm happy now, and I'll be moving forward. I can't tell a referee or an individual how to become a referee, because only they know when they're ready and how to do it. But we live in a world where we all have a phone, we all have access to the internet, and if you want to find something out, I don't need to tell you how to do that. You know yourself. So once they're ready, when the individual's ready to take that leap, I'll see them hopefully staring at me in one of the referee courses I do. Maybe Carol will see them as well. Maybe Akil will see them as well, staring back at them. And we're there to give them the advice and the skills to facilitate a game of football.
Sure. Just staying with you, Richard, you earlier shared that you and Akil both are new to the referee tutor development team. How does a referee actually enroll on a course, and what does that course look like for that referee that lands on day 1 and day 2? Just tell our listeners that might be listening to this thinking about signing up to a referee course. Can you just share a little bit of insight?
So simply, let's just fill out the form. We just want your name, details, a fan number if you've played football, or you sign up and you'll get a fan number assigned to yourself. Basics such as emergency contact details. You just get selected and you pick the course you want to go on. On the day, you're welcome with 2 tutors, 2 qualified tutors. We'll start off by introducing ourselves and telling the individuals why we're here. And our experience as referees. We also open the forum where there is no silly questions. We welcome questions. I mean, if I deliver a course 30 minutes in and I'm not getting a question, I walk out the room because maybe I'm in the wrong room. Because I can't be in the right room and not have someone want to ask me a question. So
sure,
maybe I'm in the wrong room and maybe I'm the problem, but I always get questions. How does this work? What happens if this happens? And I'm happy and willing to answer the questions. The first course, the first day 1 is 3 hours of getting to know what you've done, because prior to coming to that day, you should have done your pre-learning. So you should be telling me how to referee, not the other way around. And that's what I want to see. Yeah. On day 1, eager minds, enthused about learning the skill, the trade. And I agree what Akil said earlier. You learn so much transferable skills that having said that, I thought to myself, that is so true. I've learned that. I've learned my management, I've learned communication, and you learn some of that on the first day, but on day 2, we put those skills into practical use, and you learn about different elements of football. And the main thing I'd always stress to everyone that is looking to do a refereeing course, get your terminology correct, because that will stead your foundation throughout your journey as a referee. Terminology is key. So is laws of the games, but terminology is equally as good.
Thanks, Richard. You've given our listeners an insight into the referee course. Brilliant. Sorry to keep you waiting, Giff. The last question for you then, really same question. Would you recommend that more people from Black, Asian, mixed heritage communities get involved in refereeing? And if so, what is your relationship to that question? And have you actually had any experience of anybody coming to you, Giff, and saying, how do I become a referee?
I would say 100%. So definitely, I think all agree with all, I've spoke before me. It's definitely, you got the best seat in the house. Having, at the moment, obviously I'm supply level. So you do get some good weldies going in, and you got the best view, you're there amongst them as well. Just walking the teams out as well, you get a certain buzz. So it's kind of like an acquired taste. That's what I've sort of found in my experience. Initially it's like, you're feeling to run as if you're a player, but eventually once you get your bearings around positioning wise, it's definitely a buzz. So I'll definitely recommend it 100%. And second one, if you could just repeat that again, because I think most
have you had people come up to you and say, Giff, how do I get into refereeing? What is it all about? And just ask you some like just questions around, around what is it like?
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, with clients as well. So I'm a sports therapist. So with clients as well, when they ask like, what do you do on the weekends? They say, all hobbies. Oh, that I do drop that referee word in there as well. Yeah. Then they're like, how's the abuse? How do you deal with that? But I try and kind of educate them as well. That it's just not about that. There's so much more to it. It's so full, like that's been mentioned as well. Transferable skills. For me personally, I actually always mention it in interviews as well. And it seems to do really well in terms of actually putting that out there, that actually, I'm a referee, and things like pressure and managing under pressure, maintaining that composure as well. It's all like part of, part of the goodness. So yeah, 100%, I would definitely recommend it.
Thank you so much, Giff. Okay, we're going to move to Carol. Oh, sorry, is your hand up? Sorry, Akil.
Yeah, Min, just before you move on, just on the back of that, you've also, so it took me 19 years to get from sort of 14 years of age to finally say that I've got to Premier League to top. Sure. That took 19 years. What I would say is that the PGMOL have now got elite referee development program. If you don't know much about that, it's similar to the player performance and the coach performance plan, but the backstory of that is, if they see potential, if they see that you're doing well from 2B onwards, they will help try and get you through that system with extra coaching and a more holistic approach. So it's not the old merit-based system. So there's faster ways to get to the top. Before that, you've got Core X now, which is a new program from the FA where it helps date diverse officials. Not helps, but there's extra training and extra coaching for diverse officials to help them get through. So from the FA level and the PGMOL level, if you are from a very more diverse background, there are avenues now where you can help get through the system a lot quicker. It won't take the 19 years that it took me.
Thanks for sharing, Akil. And yeah, really, really useful to know for any listener that wasn't actually aware of that. Great initiative by the FA around FA Core X, and great initiative by the PGMOL around the EDPR scheme. Brilliant. Carol, we're going to come to you with this question, please. The question really is, what could the FA or Berks and Bucks FA do better to support people from Black, Asian, mixed heritage communities?
It's a difficult question, really, because I'd almost say they should just be as normal. But the fact is, though, they probably need to be a bit more aware. Sure. And because the thing about having, we all know having a diverse workforce or whatever enriches and provides so much. There's so much to learn, and so it's being aware and being open to the fact that having someone indifferent actually brings a lot more, let's say, food to the table. It's just not one flavour.
I love that, Carol. Thank you. You've articulated that answer so well. I don't know how Richard's going to beat that answer. Richard, over to you, please. Same question. You want me to repeat it? Or are you okay with the question?
No, I got it. I'm going to say the referee, because there was a referee who I spoke to who's currently in the Championship and he's on the brinks of going to the Premier League himself.
Sure.
And he said a very good thing to me when I met him at a meeting. And he said he wants to be there on his skill and merit, not because he's black. And I respect that. We face and we work in a climate where it sometimes feels like we're there just to tick the box for diversity. And you ask what a company can do. Well, first thing they can try and do is try to make you feel like that's not the case. But how do they do that? Well, bring people in that look like you, that want to come in. And that really is a challenge. And then you also need to have people that are judging you, judge you fairly. Akil had a great example where the club just remembered him because he was a black referee. So the game he done in August was exactly the game like he done in May, well, which is unfair. What can the FA do or Berks and Bucks do? You can try either fully educate your workforce to understand where, you know, a referee taking a different approach is not him being lazy. It's a characteristic, and it's a positive characteristic instead of perceived as a negative characteristic. I once had an observer speak to me, but telling me about another story about another referee, and he used the term coloured, and it took me by surprise because I didn't think it was a term that was widely continued to be used. But then I almost excused it because one, he's an observer and he was giving me my marks, so I couldn't pick him up on it. So I thought, don't say anything to him because that's going to inflame him. But secondly, he was of that caliber where that term was acceptable. And I can't tell the FA and B&B to rid the old school observers, match day coaches, match day observers, and get new ones in, because that's not going to work. But thoroughly educate them fully to understand where there's a changing climate and you really do need to go with it, because things that were not acceptable in the past, the things that were acceptable in the past are not acceptable now. And a fine example of that is the way we play football. Certain fouls back in the days were fully acceptable. Now they're punished, and bans are even issued after them. So it's changed.
Thank you, Richard. Akil, can I come to you with the same question around sort of support? Yeah, support.
I can't top what Carol and Richard have said. All I can say is short and sweet, just knowledge is power and understanding. So knowledge is power. So if you're in a decision-making position, you've got to know why you're making the decisions. You've got to know the importance of some of the things that Carol spoke about. You've got to have that understanding. And then if you're an observer and if you hold so much importance to people's careers, you've got to understand people's cultures. I mean, I never got good marks for fitness because I look relaxed and composed, but that's just culturally how I am, and that's my characteristic. But you've got to have some knowledge in what you're doing if you are in one of those important positions.
Thanks, Akil. I remember running the line to you as a referee, and you were very relaxed. I still remember those days, Akil. Thank you for bringing those memories back. Giff, same question to you, please, pal. Like, what could the FA or BBFA do better to support people from our communities?
I believe it's just pushing that awareness, really. Just keep on repetition until literally it's in everyone's, caliber or knowing, really. So what all colleagues have said, just before me, I can't top that, really. Again, it's just awareness, I think, from the officials to the clubs, just to know that, okay, there's difference, but we're all going for the same goal as well.
Sure. I am going to come to Richard for this next one, but before I do, just want to put this next slide up, just for our listeners, just for a little bit of visual. Giff, you're on my screen. Can you see that slide?
Yes. So I can.
Lovely. Yeah, lovely. Richard, if I can just come to you with this next question, how important are organisations such as the ones that you see on the screen, BAMREF, Kick It Out, Football, the FA for All, and the PGMOL and Berks and Bucks FA, and there are many other organisations that actually providing support and heighten awareness, and really our quest is having a game free from discrimination. And your personal experience with any of these organisations?
So Berks and Bucks is my county, and I'm thoroughly will always represent my county whenever called upon. PGMLO, everyone, I might say most people aspire to be in that group and stuff. So I'm not there yet, but you know what, that definitely is on the horizon. BAMREF is great. I went to the conference June of this year.
Yeah.
I missed the first one they had due to its location as well as what I was doing. But when I say to you, I was so glad I went to Wembley this year. It was spectacular. It was great guest speakers. I had met Akil before, but I saw him there again. I'd almost say I didn't know there was that many black referees and could fit in one room as such. And it was thoroughly educating to hear everyone's stories and different journeys they were. And I haven't needed them yet, but I know that upon calling, I've got a few contacts in BAMREF that I can call upon and message upon, and they're there to help. So it's thoroughly educating, thoroughly educational for their support, and it goes without saying that I know that I would be taken care of in the absence if I have something. The FA, no gripes with the FA. You know, the FA is there as the governing body, and I have no problems with them in the slightest. They've facilitated and given me guidelines, and I've recently become an FA tutor, which Berks and Bucks helped and pushed as well. So, you know, for these all the individual companies that are here have made me into being a referee and have supported me on my journey. Kick It Out, it speaks for itself. It's a day and age where you'd hope that you wouldn't have to have an organization like Kick It Out, but unfortunately we do. Is the world we live in, so we just have to be grateful that they are there to highlight constant battles that are in football, and we can hopefully one day where I know Kick It Out themselves would like to be obsolete or a thing that's not even thought of. Until I think that's probably their goal, but until that happens, it's great to know that if there is a problem or there's something that I need to address, that I can easily pick it up.
Thanks for that, Richard. Yeah, Giff, can I just come to you with the same question? And I'm not after a quote on all of the stakeholders, just your view of the importance really, and whether you've had any dealings with any of the stakeholders that you see before you.
Yeah, so with BAMREF, second 100% as well, what Richard's just said. I went to the conference for the first time back in June as well, and it was really eye-opening. Again, on my part, I think it's a bit of naivety, like, you know, you just get caught up in the mix going and not realize that there's so many, and again, being shown the data on how things look in terms of the forecast, in terms of how, you know, how many black referees are actually out there as well in relation to actually the population of referees. So it does kind of make you ponder and think in this day and age where we are in terms of diversity and inclusion. So that was, yeah, very, very, very positive interacting with BAMREF. Again, knowing about the strategies that they're working with the FA as well was really, really encouraging and refreshing to know that actually there's things that have been fought for really, really hard behind the scenes to make sure that there's progress and improvement in terms of diversity. And then Kick It Out, again, it says for itself. I've come across them back in 2016, I believe. I did have just the one that sticks out. So it was one incident that happened with an official. I think on their part, they think they were bantering, and literally they suggested I should paint my face white. So fortunately, I was an assistant at that time as well. And the referee stood up for me and said perfectly they could see both officials, you know, perfectly fine, and did stress that they were reporting the issue to the FA, which then progressed to a hearing, etc. And again, which brings me back to that previous point as well, which was actually that awareness. So again, that was Kick It Out was a big part in that process as well. So yeah, I think, yeah, that's, and obviously the FA, main governing body, yeah, who are facilitating everything as well.
Thank you for that, Giff. Carol, same question to you really, sort of how important are the organisations that you see before you?
Okay, so what I think is pleasing for me is that the fact that the likes of BAMREF and Kick It Out are now they have, like I say, a seat at the table of some of those
yes.
higher profile organisations, which is great. And they do appear to be listening, and we're beginning to see actions and protocols coming out that is actually supporting, let's say, the cause as such. I mean, I attended BAMREF for the first time this year. I wasn't even aware that there was an event that took place a year before, so I just came across it. So again, so the messaging there is that, why didn't I know about it? I mean, it's not as though I'm aware of other things, so why didn't this come to my attention? But what I really enjoyed about attending the conference at Wembley was the fact that there were so many of us that are like-minded, that we understood. It was like, it's like we had just understood each other's experiences. The fact that we shared some of our experiences as well, and I was still horrified to hear that even in today's age we're hearing and seeing things that shouldn't be happening. But it's one of those things, we move on. But what it does allow us to do is to have that unity and have the knowledge that we've got a group of people around supporting, and that we will subscribe to the same cause.
Thank you, Carol. Akil, same question to you, please. Just the importance of the organisations that you see on the screen.
Everyone summed it up perfectly. So I'll just, from the top left, the FA, that's where I started. Local course with my local FA last year in Rutland. And bottom right on the screen is PGMOL, and they're currently my employers. Like, that's who I work for now currently. And I would never have got from top left Grassroots referee to bottom right without the work, the dedication, the sacrifices from BAMREF, and never would have felt as comfortable as I did in a professional game without the hard work from Kick It Out.
Thanks, Akil. Just for our listeners, we've mentioned the BAMREF conference quite a bit, and all of you seem to have mentioned it. Just for our listeners, or anybody that doesn't know about what the BAMREF conference was about, Akil, can you just give us a flavour of what the concept was, what the experience was? Is any particular celebrity on that conference that you recall, and just want to share that with the listeners?
I mean, celebrity, I think Carol was there, Richard was there, Gifford was there.
Absolutely,
absolutely was. There was hundreds of people. It was great. So there's been two now. BAMREF have been around for a while, and they've been working so hard to just break down barriers and just have those awkward conversations that people don't really want to have, and just share experiences and put them to the sort of decision makers that have been in these positions but probably lack the understanding, the awareness of what sort of diverse officials have to go through. And BAMREF was set up to have those conversations. They've now got to a point where they had their first conference last year, and they had one this year at Wembley, and it was superb. For me at my level, still walking into that room, the sort of joy that it's like butterflies when you just look around the room and you see so many officials in their own. I go to meetings and conferences all the time, and I'm usually the odd one out, if I can say that. Walking in there, I've never felt so comfortable in a refereeing event, and that's not a bad thing or a negative, but it was just how good that made me feel just going to that event.
Thanks, Akil. I think everybody will resonate with exactly what you are saying. So thank you for that. We are coming up to the end of the recorded live podcast. Really, I've got one more question for you all. But before I ask you the question, again, just for listeners that are either looking at becoming referees or just want a little bit of information, the FA have actually just introduced a refereeing strategy, which is a new strategy, a 3-year strategy from today's date, and it's around guide, govern, and grow the game. We've got 1,000 referees to recruit between now and 3 years' time, and the FA are pledged that they are going to offer bursaries across the country. So we're seeing huge discounts on referee courses. Like, all of you would have paid an extortionate fee when you did your course, me included. That is now being reduced significantly to reduce those barriers to entry, which is really, really encouraging. Okay, so Giff, I'm going to come to you with this last question. I suppose really the last question, Giff, is sort of what is your goal now? What are the next steps for you in your own personal referee journey?
I mean, for me, sky's the limit. So I know I always say to my colleagues, I'm always feeling it. I'm always feeling that the next game, I'm just going to give it my all. Whether there's observer or not observer, I'm going to enjoy it. I get excited about my positioning on a goal kick or kickoff, so it's actually enjoying every step of it. Anything that comes in terms of progressing forwards, the sky's the limit. Honestly, it's just about keeping going and enjoying it, because by trying to put a goal on it, I feel like I'm putting a ceiling to myself. So at the same time, yes, you want to have direction, but I as long as I'm fit and enjoying it, I just want to keep going to as far as I can.
Thank you so much, Giff. Carol, same question to you, please.
Well, for me, it's about obviously still remaining active within my capability, but in fact supporting the female pathway. So referees with it that go, so the female referees and supporting the female game. So that's it, really. That's what's next for me.
Thank you so much, Richard. What's next for you?
My goal is simple. I just want to run out on the pitch at Wembley Stadium. That's simply in any capacity. It's just every ground I go to, I want it to be a better ground than the last one and something different and new. It's as simple as that. I don't see why I can't be doing an FA Cup final or a Vase or anything like that. It's one of the things I've done recently was I was an assistant referee at Adams Park, which was Wycombe. Brilliant. It wasn't Wycombe Wanderers, it was another team. But I was like, and at the time they were in a championship stadium. They were a championship team. I was like, brilliant. So for me, the simple goals are just get to another ground, tick off my bucket list, and be the one that's delivered a great game in any capacity.
Thank you so much, Richard, and I wish you best of luck in reaching Wembley. I'm sure you will.
Thank you.
Akil, what's next for you, Akil?
I don't know. I just want to enjoy it. Personally, my own goal is obviously I've just been promoted. It's obviously get my feet in the door, enjoy first year, second year, whatever, and then push on. Hopefully, get into Euro or get a white FIFA badge on my chest. Hopefully, one day be at a major tournament. I think ultimately, whilst I'm here, and until there's other people that look like me at the top, I want to just see people like people on this call, Carol, Giff, Richard, yourself, Minesh, other people push through the system. My busiest WhatsApp group chat is me, Sam Allison, Sonny Gill, and Bucks Gill, because we're all in and around the same area of football, and we get along because we're the only people we get each other. I want that group chat to expand, or I want to have more people that I can feel comfortable speaking to and reaching out to, and moaning if I've had a bad game, or moaning if I've had going to if I've had a good game. I just want to feel more comfortable. Tough, and there's no reason why I can't be. Why can't Richard go to Wembley? Why? I just want to see that happen.
Thanks, Akil. And to be honest, again, we always get honesty from you, and I would love to join your WhatsApp group. It's just getting through those barriers and those levels, and hopefully we can all join that WhatsApp group. Carol.
Just a quick thing, really. I know it's all about us, but what about you? What
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, this was more about really, celebrating Black History Month. But yes, absolutely. Look, I've been through a very, very similar journey to all of you. I've known Akil since we were younger than in those days. But I've got to, I mean, people like Akil have inspired me to believe in myself, and the hardest thing about refereeing is believing in yourself and those off days and picking up again and seeing more people that look like you or us or whatever makes us just feel a little bit more comfortable and not alone, because I've walked into boardrooms where I'm the only Asian guy there, and they're all looking at me saying, Are you the physio today, or are you the doctor today, or something? I've had it all. Actually, I'm the referee. And we laugh about these things, but it's very, very, very real. So yeah, look, I'm just here really to support referees at Berks and Bucks, but nationally as well in terms of the roles that I do. And to really break down those barriers. So yeah, Carol, that's just a little bit about me really. But really, what I want to do now is just really, I suppose, you know, in terms of what we were here for, to celebrate and champion the successes of people from diverse ethnic communities. You are all brilliant. You're amazing. You've spent an hour with me today. This is going to definitely inspire lots of people once it reaches those communities. I can't thank you enough. So I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you
very much. No, pleasure.
Goodbye. Stay safe and take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you
You
for the
too.
invite. You guys are amazing.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.